Today we remember my father, Richard Black. Born on April 18th, 1949, to Rose Hosco and Richard Black, he was a ninth generation American. He grew up on a farm in Illinois with his four brothers, Vince, Mickey, Philip, and Joe, and one sister, Marianne. Through my research into our family history, I learned that Richard and Rose were the first of the Blacks to head west, and my dad went the farthest, settling in Seal Beach. As a child, I remember him as a man who could build anything. He owned a construction company for many years and loved outdoor adventures. He was creative, endlessly curious, and never shy about speaking his mind. I still smile thinking of walking with him in the grocery store in Seal Beach, holding his hand when a bum asked for money. Dad's blunt reply, "Get a job," was pure him. He introduced me to so many firsts, taking me to see Fantasia in the theater, teaching me to shoot a gun and bow and arrow, ride a horse, ski, fire up an Amiga computer, crack a whip, and ferment juice until it bubbled. His love for the kitchen, passed down from my grandma Rose, stayed with him his whole life. In Seal Beach, he included my brother and me in whatever he was passionate about at the moment. When he started a DNA gene printing company, he drew our blood at the kitchen table. When he taught computer classes at New Horizons, he made us sit in the classroom and learn right alongside his students. As an adult, I spoke with him on the phone for an hour almost every week. We'd catch up on our latest projects, and he always lit up hearing stories about his grandsons, Strider and Sebastian. When we were together, he taught me hands-on skills in chemistry, baking, brewing, and fermentation. He made over 2,800 bottles of wine and later showed me how to make wine, gin, and alcohol from just about anything. He also loved creating lotions and potions from CBD plants, selling them to stores in Arizona. He had a deep love for his hobbies, for technology, and for working with his hands. He could take things apart just to see how they worked and put them back together again. He taught my sons and me the importance of integrity and doing every job, big or small, to the very best of our ability. Family was the thread that ran through everything he did. He stayed close to his brothers and sister throughout his life, and that bond meant so much to him. A couple of close friends from his early days stayed by his side for the rest of his life too, and he treasured those friendships deeply. At the center of all this, though, was Marilyn, whom he loved for 35 years. Her devotion to him never wavered, and in his final days, her relentless fight for his well-being was nothing short of extraordinary. She stood by him with the strength and love that spoke to everything their marriage was built on. I'm honored to be his daughter. I'm grateful for the love and bond that we both shared. We had to overcome our own fears and find our way back to each other. Every girl needs their father's love, and I was blessed to have his.
Hello, everybody. I'm here to talk about my grandpa. I have this written down, so apologies for looking down. But um, my grandpa was a very important figure in my life. He served as a backbone to our family and to my life personally. His pride, work ethic, and attention to detail was something constantly inspiring, and is something I still try to emulate to this day. I'm grateful for the times I've gotten to visit him and for the things he's taught us every time. His calmness and bulldog spirit is something that always stood out to me, seeing it even in his last days. He was a man who valued independence and saw learning as a fundamental part of life, and shared that with everybody close to him, including myself. He was someone who was always in the back of my mind, and someone who I always wanted to make proud. Thank you for your lessons, Grandpa, and I hope you know that I'll cherish them for the rest of my life.
Hello, my name is Sebastian Stade. I want to take a brief moment to talk about my Grandpa Black, someone very important in my life and very special to me. And I'm not too sure if some of you guys may or may not know, but for a lot of my life, I've had a steady connection with my dad. And Grandpa Black filled a very needed role for me, for myself and my brother, when we didn't really have a lot of male role models in our life. Our Grandpa Black was there, and he showed us everything from down to the way that we shave, to the way to use tools properly, to be safe, to how to shoot a gun. And it's those little things that built up over time that I really appreciate and will be with me for the rest of my life. Both the guitars I have in my room that I play every day, I made with my Grandpa Black, and he made me probably take them apart and put them back together about 3 times, and that's always what he made you do, which is pretty funny, but I couldn't say that I'd understand it nearly as much as I do if it weren't for that. So he's a very important person in my life. I hold him with me forever, and he'll be with me forever. He made me really appreciate and value my family, and that's all I can ask for. So he's a very important person, and I'm honored to have been his grandson.
Good morning. This is Marilyn, and today I want to share the journey that I had with Richard over the last 35 years that we were married. We loved California, most of all back then, Seal Beach. Through different healthcare opportunities, I was promoted to a wonderful health system in New Mexico, where we went to live there around 1994. For Richard, this opened up a new world, one that was rich with creativity, craftsmanship, and a culture he grew to love. He discovered the art of leatherwork and approached it in the way he approached most things in life, with curiosity, patience, and the determination to learn. He never needed to be the expert in the room. He simply wanted to understand. He had a gift for seeing beauty in things made by hand. And my goodness, that included the kitchen as well. We enjoyed homemade meals every night that were fit for a king. He taught me to cook with love and not to rush it. It didn't have to be perfect. But because the people around the table mattered, he wanted it cooked with love. Later, we went to Louisville, Kentucky for another healthcare opportunity. We got a 40-acre farm where there were horses and chickens, barns, a fish pond, and gardens. Gardens that seemed to grow as generously as his spirit. He thrived in caring for this land. And his sourdough bread, well, let's just say there were few things more welcoming than walking through the door to smell the fresh bread from Richard's kitchen. Later, years took us to Bend, Oregon, and then Arizona. When we arrived in Bend, how could you not just want to golf every single day? And then, of course, fish with Kimmy every single weekend. And we also had wonderful mountain biking adventures. And then life changed course. Once again, Richard broke the same hip, not once but twice within just a few months of each other. We were told by the doctors that there was no bone left to repair him, until Mayo accepted his case. Richard underwent surgery in Scottsdale to build his hip using cadaver bone, and remarkably, thank God, it worked. What we thought would be a temporary stop in Scottsdale for this care turned into something much longer. Back then, you had to have in-state insurance to cover these enormous endeavors, so Arizona became our home. Along the way, God blessed us with extraordinary neighbors and dear friends. And then the autumn of our final season together. You know, if you've ever made plans and watched God gently redraw the map, you understand what happened to us in our final season together. Richard met life's health detours with remarkable grace. Between seizures, Parkinson's, and the relentless challenges that slowed and limited his ability to walk, we both knew time was becoming precious. Yet even in suffering, Richard showed courage beyond measure. His body grew weaker, but his spirit never surrendered. He taught us that strength isn't always found in just standing tall. Sometimes strength is found in accepting help, and we needed help. To everyone who walked beside us, who cared for us, who prayed for us, and lifted us when we couldn't carry the load alone, I thank you all. Your kindness became part of Richard's story. Even when things became so difficult that he couldn't walk, his greatest concern was never about himself. He did not want to be a burden. On June 3rd, God called Richard home. And I rejoice today because Richard can walk again. He no longer has pain in his hips or his back. No more seizures. His mind is clear. Thank God his spirit is free. You know, he used to make me play the piano before we'd sit and have dinner. They were always old gospel songs, and he learned that his favorite was "This World Is Not My Home, I'm Just a Passing Through." My treasures are laid up somewhere beyond the blue. We honor him today because we know we all need to cook with love, care deeply, and embrace each season God gives us. And by remembering the truest treasures are not the things we hold in our hands, but the people we hold in our hearts. I love you all.